What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. So we have a Scream update, not necessarily related to Scream 7 in the sense of we're finding out what the story is, the synopsis, who some of these actors and actresses are going to be playing, especially some of the ones that are returning. As you see in the headline here, Matthew Lillard returning to the franchise after exiting from the overall franchise since the very first film because his character, in my opinion, was killed off. So how they're bringing him back is yet to be determined, yet for us to see at this point. But this article, this update that's recently come out, is dealing more so with Jenna Ortega and why she in fact left the franchise. And as you can see from the headline here, Scream 7, Jenna Ortega bailed because sequel was falling apart, and then Matthew Lillard doesn't want to mess it up. That latter part, again, as I mentioned, we know about that. We know about that quote, that interview that he gave, and he mentioned he didn't want to mess up as far as him returning to the franchise. So we're not necessarily here to cover off on that. What we are here to cover off on is what Jenna Ortega is saying as to why she left. Because we were all led to believe she left because of a pay dispute, very similar to the pay dispute that we heard about with Neve Campbell. That was, when she was going to be coming in, or they wanted her to come in for Scream 6, and that didn't work out. They couldn't get to a number that apparently they both felt comfortable with. She walked away. But as we know, she's back for Scream 7, so they obviously must have found a common number to pay her. But Jenna Ortega is now saying that, the fact that the story was, or the message was, that she wasn't getting paid enough was not the case. So let's jump into the article details here. Spyglass Media and Paramount Pictures once intended to make a Scream 7 that would have starred Scream 2022 and Scream 6 leads Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega. We heard that Ortega exited the project after asking for a substantial pay raise. Again, that's what we were all led to believe. That's what the reports were, and that's what we were told. And as we saw when Neve Campbell dropped out of Scream 6 due to a pay dispute, and we knew that as well. These pay issues don't tend to work out. Then Barrera was fired from the project after comments she made about the Israel-Hamas war didn't go over well with executives at Spyglass. But now Ortega has given an interview where she denied that a pay dispute had anything to do with her exit. So I find it interesting, though, that we're this far along down the path, down the runway of Scream 7. I mean, for a while there, it was just countless and countless updates every week as far as casting, rumors of casting, final castings. But then the one thing we haven't gotten anything or any details about is who some of these individuals are playing, what their role is in the film, how big of a role it is, and what this film is even going to be about. So I find it interesting this is just now coming out. I'm not sure why this would all of a sudden be coming out, but if it is, at least it's happening well in advance of the Scream 7 release, which doesn't happen until very early 2026. So, I mean, if this were to shine any bad light on anything, it wouldn't necessarily, in my opinion, impact Scream 7 in any way, shape, or form. So as we move on here, speaking to the cut, Ortega said she dropped out of Scream 7 because of the Melissa Barrera situation, and because the directors of Scream 2022 and Scream 6, Matt and Tyler, were not coming back. Here's the quote. "It had nothing to do with pay or scheduling. The Melissa stuff was happening and it was all kind of falling apart. If Scream 7 wasn't going to be with that team of directors and those people I fell in love with, then it didn't seem like the right move for me in my career at the time." So we'll come back to that quote. Let's just finish up this last little bit of the article here. So Scream 7 has been redeveloped. Campbell has signed on to return as franchise heroine Sidney Prescott back in the lead role, with Kevin Williamson, who wrote the screenplay for the original Scream, directs the film from a screenplay by 2022 Scream and Scream 6 writer Guy Busick, who crafted the story with his co-writer on the 5th and 6th films, James Vanderbeek, and then especially he's also the producer. So we go on, it just goes on to talk about here all the other people that are involved as far as actors, actresses, who they've played, other things they've played in. So we have another quote down here. People has reported that, this is on the Lillard situation. So we'll just cover it since this is the end of the article. Lillard is worried about messing the movie up with his appearance. He said, "I can't say anything about it, obviously, but I'm very excited and slightly terrified to be back because all I can do is really screw up a legacy that we have. I could really suck, and so that's my fear. My fear is that I come back and sort of punish something that I could have never have touched and been just fine. I hope I don't F it up for everyone." And again, it comes out February 27th, 2026. So back to the quote that we're here to talk about, Jenna coming out pretty much saying, yeah, it had nothing to do with pay. Just felt like, hey, if you're going to fire Melissa, you're not bringing back the directors that, I've been a part of, and all these people that have been a part of the films that I've been working on or working with, then I'm done. I'm bowing out. I think, in my opinion, that's a pretty lame excuse, honestly. You're still pretty young. This is a pretty strong horror franchise. Been around since the early/mid 90s. So to say, and Scream 2022 and Scream 6 did very well. I mean, a lot of people were happy with those films. It was a quite more updated, modern than some of the other films. Obviously, the other films we had received in the past, but again, those were products of their time, so they're going to look that way and feel that way. However, again, I don't think this was necessarily a right career move. I mean, her career has been doing just fine within the horror space, the horror genre, and she's been doing some other things, but vastly lately more horror stuff. Now, I don't know if anyone has seen Death of a Unicorn. I've heard it. I haven't seen it yet. I'm going to be trying to watch it here soon, but not a lot of people cared for that film. A lot of people felt that it felt flat, the humor was completely off, and just the acting itself was not up to par. So even though she's been, headlining some of those other things that have been getting a lot of marketing and push, they haven't been very successful. And so that's why I think here, Melissa said what she said. She has her opinion. She has her beliefs and what's transpiring around the world. Obviously, the higher ups didn't agree with, what she said, and they parted ways. Now, obviously, Jenna either I'm not saying this is just my opinion, this is just speculation, whether she felt the same way and just didn't voice it, and is pretty much just saying, oh well, you're firing her, directors aren't coming back, I might as well just leave too, there's nothing really left for me to hear. I think that's just a kind of a lame excuse. If they're going to pay you the money that you want to still play the role, and the story can still follow your character, then do it. But if you're going to stand on, a set of beliefs, set of morals, hey, do that as well. Happy for you to do that. Happy for anybody to do that. But don't cover it up by saying, oh, well, because, it's just not the right career move. Just come out and, just be honest with the fans, be honest with the community and say, hey, this is why I'm not coming back. Melissa was treated this way. The directors and all the previous team were treated this way, and they've been let go. So that's my crew. That's who I'm rolling with. And hey, it was fun. Have a nice day. Because all of this also, I think, could have been addressed when those pay disputes reports were coming out. I mean, we didn't just find out about pay disputes with her, 2 weeks ago. That's been a story and report that's been going on for quite some time, and she could have corrected it the whole along the way. At any point up until yesterday afternoon, she could have corrected that and said, hey, has nothing to do with pay. This is what's actually going on. So I'm also wondering what's driving this message now all of a sudden to correct and say this is in fact why I left the franchise. So again, in my opinion, if you're doing it for other reasons that you don't want to voice, you can do that. That is fine. But don't go under the guise of the fact that it's not the right career move. If it's for obvious, for me, it's obvious it was for other reasons. And just come out and say that. I think you'll garner a lot more respect from the community, a lot more understanding from the community to say, hey, I get you, I hear you. We all, stand by our sets of morals and beliefs, and hey, wish you all the best. But don't try to sugarcoat it and cover it up to be something that it's not. So just my take. Scream 7, again, not necessarily a Scream 7 update, but it does link back to Scream 7 because had Jenna decided to stay, I think we could be getting a very different film, because even the article mentioned, we can go right back down to it real quick, get past these advertisements. Scream 7 has been redeveloped. So had she have stayed, I don't think they would have approached Neve Campbell to come back. They would have been like, hey, well, she already said no, we're not going to pay that money. We're going to roll with Jenna Ortega, and we'll somehow figure out how to write out Melissa's character, or do something where, she's, a body double or something, just has her killed off in the beginning of the next film, something of that nature. So anyways, that's going to do it for this horror news update related to the Scream franchise. and to Jenna Ortega's reasoning for leaving the franchise overall. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Do you feel, you know, that there was probably other things that drove this decision, and we're just saying it's a career, you know, best for my career? And do you feel that this is something that, you know, if she was going to speak on it when it should, when the reports were first happening about a pay dispute, when it really has nothing to do with a pay dispute? Let me know in the comment section. And if you haven't done so already, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, we will see you at the next one. Peace.